and hit this record button over here. Can I get a sound check from you guys just real quick? Let me hear you guys.
Go ahead, Chevy. You can go first.
1, 2, 3, 4. Sibilance.
Nice. Luke. Okay, Lucas.
8, 9, 10. Bermuda.
Okay. Y'all are coming in pretty clear. That'll be all right. All right.
Bermuda.
We are.
Come on. Sorry.
You good?
I'm good. I'm ready.
All right. Make sure this is happening. Uh-oh, something's wrong here. Hold on.
Warning.
Give me a timeout here. Give me just a second.
Oh, let me. Lamar.
There we go. All right. You ready, Lucas?
I'm ready.
Hey, everyone. And those of you who are joining us live at mixer.com/Golaverse, welcome in. We got a collector's spotlight tonight with teaming up with Chewy's Cantina at geekoutonline.com/Cantina. And maybe you've noticed, well, we'll talk about all that when we get rolling here. So without further ado, let's hit the theme music. On this episode of Geek Out Loud, it's yet another get-together with Chewy's Cantina over at geekoutonline.com/Cantina and a collector's spotlight as we talk to Cantina member Sean Chevalier. Chevy!
Howdy.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Geek Out Loud, your safe place to geek out on the internet. My name's Steve Glosson. So glad to have you along with us. And we have as well on this episode a collector's spotlight. We'll bring him on in right out of the gate. He is the founder of Chewy's Cantina, the collecting group over at Facebook. You can get there by going to geekoutonline.com/Cantina. A lot of good things happening over there. A lot of good times taking place. You know him as Lethargic Chewy. He's my good friend, your good friend, Lucas Butler. What's happening tonight, Lucas?
Hello, friends. It's good to be back with you. Always nice to hang out with Steve and our special guest on our collector spotlight here in the Cantina. So
we also
appreciate you getting all together. So
yeah, we also Lucas, you brought back this past week an old feature.
Oh yeah.
From back in the day. You brought back Chewy Lunch with Chewy.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun Tuesday. I appreciate you joining me. And something some of your listeners and your YouTube subscribers may have noticed, we've kind of done some collaboration as far as with Geek Out Loud and Chewy's Cantina. Yep. So you can find the episode of Lunch with Chewy on the Geek Out Loud YouTube channel if you want to tune into that. So
right now, obviously, it's going to be too late to buy anything but
we talk toys. It's cool.
We do talk toys. It's a lot of fun to look back on some of these sales and kind of see what some of the folks had, and also to kind of familiarize yourself with the way that some of these sales at Chewy's Cantina goes. And so we invite you to check it out at geekoutonline.com/watch. I believe is the YouTube channel is the easiest way to get there. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. When we hit, I guess the next big milestone would be 500. But because I don't want to wait that long to do a fun live celebration, we'll probably do a 300 subscriber celebration next. So we'll probably start subscribing at all the 100 marks. So head over there and subscribe to our YouTube. We look forward to more content. I've got some ideas just all buzzing around up here and stuff. Ooh, so scary. It'll be fun. So now on these type episodes, when we team up with the Cantina, we like to to dig into the group. And I think we've got a backlog. I think we got several people lined up ready to rock and roll with some spotlights and stuff. And so it's just talking to the guys who are in the group with us, who participate in some of these sales, who just kind of like to hang out and talk toys with everyone else and maybe catch a good deal every now and again. And tonight is no different. From up outside of Pittsburgh, up in the Pennsylvania region of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Geek Out Loud and Chewy's Cantina Collector Spotlight, Sean Chevalier, aka Chevy. Sean, welcome, sir. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Now, I want to get something out of the way real quick. You go by Chevy. That's, of course, a play off the last name there. But do you drive a Chevy?
That would be a huge resounding no. That would be a
So wait, you fell out there. So a huge resounding no.
Yeah, we drive a Dodge Ram.
Dodge Ram. Chevy drives a Dodge. All right.
That's right.
Man, hit a hot button there, man.
Well, I know, like that's a huge resounding no. Chevy, I got to tell you something. You seem like you belong down here in Georgia with the rest of the rednecks. Hey, I don't drive no Chevy. I'm out there in a Dodge Ram, son.
That's exactly right. The Hemi likes to go fast, and just because y'all are in the South, you don't have the the market cornered on rednecks. They're all over the place.
Hey, buddy, I got to tell you something straight up. I lived for a year in Minnesota, and there was this dude there that I knew, and he was a young guy. He was a high school kid, and he had a date with this girl lined up, and it was like this exciting thing because dude was going to have a date. And he ended up breaking the date. And I'm like, what happened, man? Why'd you do that? He said, well, I had to stay home. One of my dogs got sick. And I was like, and he said that in a Minnesotan accent. He's like, one of my dogs got sick, And so I'm like, you should say that with a Southern drawl. That's you don't sound like that's something you should be saying, but guys' priorities were in order. His hunting dog was sick, and so he had to stay home and take care of his hunting dog.
That's true. He probably had the hunting dog longer than the date.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that's what
that works.
That's true. Yeah.
Chevy, that's what he said. I mean, like literally. So it was then that I learned, hey, rednecks are everywhere. So yeah. Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you with us, man. It's going to be a good time talking some toys and stuff. And we were kind of talking a little bit before we got rolling here. And as with a lot of people in the cantina, your collecting starts way back in the late 70s, early 80s. You kind of got on that Star Wars train back in the day, you told me. So
yeah.
How old were you? What was the first Star Wars you saw? How did you get into Star Wars? We don't want to give away age and everything, but go ahead and walk us through that. Like, when did you see it, and what do you remember what your first Star Wars collectible, your toy was? What were you rocking as a kid there?
Well, Steve and Lucas, I'm not ashamed to tell you, my name is Sean Chevalier. I'm 49 years old, and I like to walk down by the Ohio River.
Nice.
I saw the very first Star Wars in movie theaters in 1977. That would have made me 5. As far as collecting, I don't know if I could really call it collecting back then, because to me, when I the first 2 toys that I do remember getting from the Star Wars vintage line was the talking Imperial troop transport.
Wow.
And the Droid Factory.
Wow. Okay.
They were just, to be honest with you, and this might shock people, but to me, they were just toys. Yeah,
right.
I played with them.
Yeah, of course we did.
What kind of childhood did you have?
I was an ugly child. I was going to quote Steve Martin from The Jerk, but I won't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
But the
you get us canceled.
Whenever I guess you can say I really started, focusing on something, I guess my first collection would be the vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lines.
Okay, cool.
I worked as a teenager as a lifeguard at the local pool and everything, saved up money, and like every other Thursday I would take a trip up to one of the local malls. I got in with the manager of KB Toys, got to be friends, he and I, and like every other week on a Thursday, the trucks would come in and he would allow me just to go through the boxes before he put anything on. If I wanted this one or this is a new one, you know.
You jerk.
Why? Mm-hmm.
One of those guys.
Yeah, well, you know, it just it was a real neat way that the friendship came about, because we weren't looking for it. I wasn't going, hey, you know, I'll give you $50 here if you let me in on the toys first. It just, you know, it kind of sort of happened, and
right.
It was really cool.
Yeah, that, you know, that I can't say much. I've got a buddy that we used to do some toy hunting together, and he got buddy with the friend, you know, with the managers at Target and Toys R Us. And I even at one point was in with the toy section manager of Walmart in our little town, you know, and and so that it was, yeah. So I mean, if you're seen around those places enough, you kind of start having conversations and talking to folks as it is. So, but
Absolutely.
But you mentioned something. You talked about something before we get to Turtles. You know, you talked about the idea that, you know, for us in our generation, that those things we got when we were kids, those were toys. You know, we weren't sitting there thinking, well, should I open this? I don't want to mess it up. You know, we weren't sitting there thinking, you know, hey, I need to keep this in pristine mint condition because one day, you know, it's going to be worth something. And I had heard the term collector's item before, you know, from, I guess, plate commercials on television whenever they were selling the plates on those, you know,
sure.
yeah, the wall plates. But to think of Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader and Boba Fett as collector's items, you know, it wasn't a big thing. I kept my toys in played with condition, and I tried to keep from, you know, breaking them or messing them up because I wanted to have toys to play with.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, in 1977, though, with me being 5, now had I had been 20 at the time, maybe it would have been okay. Well, I think this is going to be big. So, all right, I'm going to buy 2 of these. I'm going to put one away where it'll never see sunlight or, you know, have air breathe on it or a fly land on it.
Right.
And it, you know, 1997, go, hey, look, this is in mint pristine condition. It's never been punched, or, you know, the terms that we know now. You know, I can, you know, like I said, I can remember 78 whenever, you know, Christmas came around. Hey, look, it's Luke Skywalker. I didn't gingerly set him down. Later, there went the plastic, there went the card, and it was running around the house with Luke.
Yeah.
You know, but I really think age had a lot to do with that. Right. I was 5, I was 6 when I got my toys, and that's what they were. And once again, they never saw outside. They were in played with condition. I had all the boxes. You know, my AT-AT, when my childhood AT-AT, when I was done playing with it, it went back in the garage.
Yep.
And, you know, and it was put away in the closet and everything. And when friends came over or family members come over, you know, we went down to the basement where that was where the fun place was.
That's right. That's where the kids played. Yep.
That's right. And we would take the toys out, we would play. And if somebody got a little bit too rough, there was usually a fist fight.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I remember, and I've said this on multiple shows multiple times before, that, you know, my family, we never wanted for anything as kids. We weren't rich or wealthy or anything, but, you know, my parents would save up and give us a good Christmas. And so, you know, and then every now and again, there'd be the surprise Star Wars figure here or there, you know, but we didn't get just anything we wanted. I never had an AT-AT as a child, you know, for example. And so, but there were kids who lived next door behind us. We lived on the corner, so we had behind the door neighbors and next door neighbors. And so our backyard neighbors, those kids seemed to have everything cool. They had all the biggest Transformers, they had all the cool Star Wars stuff, and they would lose parts and pieces. Like I'd go in, I'm like, oh my gosh, you have Metroplex, let's play with them. well, he's missing this, he's missing that. I'm like, how are you just losing this stuff? This is vital. You can't just lose. And it would just infuriate me to no end to see that they were just like, they didn't care. They were just like, oh, flipping about it. And I'm like, it always killed me when I would realize, oh, I've lost a piece to this, or I've lost, and it'd be like, and there would always be something in me that I was constantly keeping an eye out for it. Gun falls off a snow speeder. I'm constantly looking for that turret, for that gun.
Right.
The rest of my childhood, I'm always like, well, maybe it got back here in the back of the closet here, the back of this cabinet there. Maybe I should just dig a little deep, and so those kind of things. To this day, I'm like, where in the world did Bosk's gun go? That's one I specifically remember losing, and I remember when I had it last, and I remember the opening up the Vader case and it not being there, and it has infuriated me to this day that I lost Bosk's gun. And so yeah, if you had kids come to the house, family, especially if they were family, and be abusive to your toys, that didn't fly at all.
Absolutely not. It's funny that you mentioned about, like, you said you had the next door neighbors or the behind you neighbors,
right,
that seemed to have everything. Well, one of the things that I didn't have, and I don't know if you can see it up there, the Rancor Monster.
Yeah,
never had that as a kid. That one up there that's in the box was my best friend's.
Oh wow.
He bought it because it went on clearance at JCPenney's. The only thing that's wrong with it, it's still in the box. It is still tie wrapped. It has all the paperwork. The tape has just, over the 40 years, just come undone.
Sure, yeah.
And it's sitting on my shelf. And I always told him, just joking around, one of these days I'm going to go up in your mom and dad's attic and I'm going to steal your Rancor. Now, he started the geek den, as I like to call it. He brought it down. He said, here, this probably means more to you than it does to me. And
wow,
it's on my shelf.
That's awesome. That is so cool. See, it's stuff like that. I mean, it's those moments. Like, I never had a Rancor either. And that's one of those things that I still have never gotten my hands on one. I don't know what I would do with it at this point if I got one. I don't have the room to display it or anything, but yeah, that's I have a similar, well, not a similar, but I have an AT-AT story that kind of runs along those lines. I never had an AT-AT as a kid, and we were in a flea market. I was in a flea market with a friend of mine down in Jacksonville, Florida. Dude had a little shop, little kiosk. He had all kinds of Star Wars stuff there. And he had an AT-AT there, vintage AT-AT, good price. Only thing was missing were the chin guns. He had one chin gun, and so he wasn't going to sell the chin gun with the AT-AT. And I talked him into it. I'm like, dude, come on, man, you've got to, it's going to be easier for me to find one than both. No one's going to come through here looking for a chin gun. You're at a freaking flea market here outside of Jacksonville, Florida, man. Come on. So he sold it to me. I get the thing home. It was dusty. It was messed up. And so I go to clean it. I've got some warm soapy water and a little toothbrush. And I'm just going over, clean it, drying off.
Yeah.
And I turn it up to kind of get to the underbelly, and I hear something rattling. I'm like, what in the world's going on? So I open the battery compartment, and there's the second chin gun that someone had tucked down in the battery compartment.
You rat.
Yeah. And so I'm like,
oh,
huzzah. So there's the AT-AT with the chin gun, and then you flash forward several years, in getting ready for my wedding and everything. I was selling off all kinds of stuff. I ended up selling that AT-AT as well as my childhood Imperial shuttle, and the dude who bought it is local. And a couple of months ago, he's like, "Hey man, do you want these back?" He said, "I feel like you get more use out of them than I do." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't have to do that." And so, but he brought them back by, and socially distancing, just left them on my porch and said, "They're out there, go get them."
Yeah.
So they're back. So that was an incredible act of kindness from
that's an amazing story, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
It's great times. It's good stuff. But see, that's kind of that's where I get into like the joy of collecting. It's the fun of it, and then like you say, there is a nostalgia trip to it because we played with these things as kids. And so, sure, some of our stuff got beat up, but there's always something really special when you run into something that you had that's in pretty decent shape, and you're able to then have it again.
Absolutely.
And then to run into that thing that you never really had, but you always kind of wanted, you know, and to be able to obtain it is just like, it's almost like scratching an itch that you haven't been able to get to for 40 years. You know, it's like
the itch that I just recently scratched about 6 months ago was the kid-sized Han Solo blaster.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Loose, complete condition, pretty decent. Got it for a good price. That was one of those, Santa's not going to bring that to you because it's a gun.
Okay.
It happens. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's how parents were back then. But then there's my dad, who was an avid hunter, and I was around, you know, firearms my whole life.
Right.
I don't.
They weren't laser pistols. Now,
Hey,
Well,
don't.
that's true, Lucas. That's true.
so let's be real.
I had the Han Solo blaster. It was the Return of the Jedi labeled one. So I know that Lucas recently, then I came into possession of a Star Wars labeled one, and I was able to get a battery cover I needed. And Lucas actually got that off of me, and I think he's since sold that off to someone else.
Oh, no.
You still have it?
Right there. Here.
Okay.
Let's pan up a little bit.
Cool. Uh-oh. Here we go. We're going on a trip. Oh yeah, there it is.
I got a stand for it and everything.
Yeah.
Kind of look
all three.
with mine, Lucas.
Nice.
Yeah. That was the thing. Even with my Return of the Jedi, when I had, you know, as a kid, you know, it was, the whole idea was like, you're actually playing with it. It's not like, hey, look at my cool prop. You're running around and you're blasting stormtroopers, or, you know, whatever, you know, if you're playing G.I. Joe this time, or if you're playing Transformers this time, or just playing war with your friends, you know, and so these things were made to play, and that's what we did so much. So
even the well, I guess they're, you know, few and far between now, but the whistling lightsabers, the ones that actually, yeah, I can remember my buddy and his next door neighbor, when we would play Star Wars, one had the red one, the other one had the yellow one, and we used to beat back and forth on each other with those things. And I mean, you know, you had the stress fractures in them, and they kind of, you know, went like this. And oh, well, you know what? You're 18. We're just going to throw this away now. And you're going,
yeah. Oh
no.
yeah. Yeah. I all of my stuff, it was really interesting. I mean, had a long conversation. It felt like a long conversation, but it was just a quickie conversation with my mom when I was getting ready to go to college. She's like, well, I guess we need to do something with all this stuff in your closet. And she said, what do you want to do with it? I said, well, she said, well, I got some of these Rubbermaid totes. We can just put it in there and sit out in the storage room. I'm like, that's fine with me. Put it in the storage building. So when I got out of college and got ready to come home and settle down somewhere, you know, and have my own place, I was out of that storage building. Sure enough, there they'd all was, just waiting on me to get out again. And of course, now through the miracle of time and all the temperature changes out in the climate controlled storage building, there was a little bit of yellow in here and there that I didn't expect to take place. But you know, it's still my stuff, and you know, it mattered to me. So you get hooked.
You mentioned college, because I have a similar college story with my Ninja Turtle collection. The first weekend I came home from college, and my dad's sitting on the couch. My mom had come up and got me, and the first thing I did, made a beeline straight up to my room. And my dad heard, okay, and pardon the language, what the hell happened to them?
Oh no.
And I come down the stairs. Now, I had bookshelves with them all opened up and all posed with everything that I could. And I looked straight at my mom. I said, where are they at? She goes, well, you're in college now. You know, it's time to put. And I went, don't go into my room and touch my things anymore. And my dad's sitting on the couch just laughing, smiling.
What?
When got 3 cardboard boxes, I put them all back up on the shelves, and I could hear my dad down the stairs going, told you not to put your hands on them.
Nice.
Dad got it. Mom kind of got it, but you know, oh well.
Yeah, it's you know, it's one of those things that, you know, like I say, my parents are real good about, when I was getting ready to go off, about like, well, let's not throw it away, you know, because they recognized how much that stuff had meant to me as a kid growing up. And so, so like I say, rather than throw it away, we were able to put it in storage, and I was able to, you know, get it all these years later. But now, so we move forward in time from Star Wars, and you say the collecting kind of bug really hit you around the time of the Turtles. So that would put you, if you were 5 when Star Wars came out, Turtles comes around, you're 15, 16 years old when the Turtles toys start hitting and everything. So what now, I'm just gonna throw it, when I'm 15, 16, I'm going around in my little area that I live in down in deep South Georgia, trying to find anywhere that'll sell comic books and buying comic books. But I never quite got on the Turtles thing, you know, a few years prior. So what was it about the Turtles that sucked you in as a teenage kid? Because that's, you know, usually teenage kids are like, they kind of keep that stuff to themselves. And that's what I was doing with the comic books. I didn't really go and be like, hey, let me tell you guys about all my comic stuff.
To be honest with you, Stephen Lucas, I didn't care what anybody thought about me. I was a comic book geek. I was a Star Wars geek. I didn't care.
There you go.
We were 7th, 8th, 9th grade. You know, a bunch of us would watch the G.I. Joe cartoon.
Yeah.
No, wasn't too deep into that. Couple figures here and there that I thought were neat. Of course, I'm not a Joe. I'm a Cobra. And also I'm a Cobra Kai too. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, but I come home, you know, from school the one day, I go to turn the TV on, and all of a sudden I hear that now famous theme song.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? I was hooked. It was the first cartoon.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was probably, I don't know, maybe a month, 2 months after that, a bunch of us went to a place up in Pittsburgh, records and comics shop. And there it sat. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, first printing, $10.
Wow. Eastman and Laird, you're talking about?
Absolutely. First print was it was the magazine, the error that they made from issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I said, oh, okay, well, I kind of like the cartoon. Let's see. And I get it home and I'm reading it. And of course, you know, you handle comics with kid gloves, so you're not buying them. This is nothing like the cartoon. They're cussing, they're drinking beer. There's the bad guy dies in the first issue. Okay, I need more. So I started, if this was the timeline started back here, I kind of started up here somewhere, jumped back, and then it was full steam ahead.
But dude, to be able to get your hands on a first issue Eastman and Laird Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I mean, for $10, that's huge. I mean, like even around the time they were starting to hit the cartoon, of course it hadn't blown up, I guess, like it was going to.
Exactly.
But you hit that at just the right time. You know, because it wouldn't be too much longer after that. You wouldn't have been able to get your hands on that thing for.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, it went, Turtle Mania went like completely crazy. And, you know, of course, you had your differences. You had to do a child cartoon as opposed to the violent,
right,
you know, comics that actually came out. But you know what? Like I said, it was enough for me to be able to say, okay, I can separate the comics from the cartoons, because the cartoons, yeah, you know, and people, you know, and even back then, what are you watching that for? Because I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't care what, you know, you want to go do this, that, and do whatever. That's great. I don't slam on you. Don't slam on me and my collection or my love for something that's plastic.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and it just, like I said, it just was like a snowball rolling downhill, and it did make a difference. Oh, look, we've got, you know, the head dropping turtles or the talking ones, and they made so many different ones, and little Sean had to have them all.
Yeah. Well, what's cool about it is like I didn't really, I was in a point where I wasn't necessarily getting out of cartoons, but I had a lot of friends who like to play outside on Saturdays, and so for us there was a lot of like, you know, getting together down at this place or that place, or fishing over here, doing this over here. And so I wasn't actively watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I would kind of catch it every now and again. And it was a cool little cartoon. I collected the first series of the trading cards, the cartoon, because I loved non-sports trading cards back in the day. And so I had the gist, but I wasn't going to get into the toys. I wasn't getting into the toys or anything like that. But man, it really did just capture a lot of people's imaginations and whatever, there was something about it. I've seen it done, throughout the 80s. There was a lot of things that captured all of our imaginations. You look at it kind of starts with Star Wars, you roll through G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, Transformers has got to be in that conversation.
Yep.
He-Man. But once you get to that tail end of He-Man and Transformers, G.I. Joe kind of kept plugging along. But
you mean it's not a Silverhawks fan?
Well, I did like Silverhawks, but Silverhawks didn't like capture the zeitgeist the way that those other things did. And it seemed like everything kind of petered out around 86, 87-ish. And then boom, a couple of years later, here are the Turtles. And I mean, it was huge. Like it was, you called it Turtlemania, and it was so big. As someone who was kind of sucked in there, explain to me, who I like them, I'm not against them or whatever, what was it that like brought you in on the Turtles?
Wow. Well, from a cartoon point of view, like I said, it was just something I never had seen before. Okay, you've got 4 walking humanoid turtles, a humanoid rat that that was their sensei that taught him how to fight and everything. And then whenever you brought Shredder in, I thought Shredder was kind of a unique character.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, going back and then reading the original comic book, I should say, it was just, okay, now we're going to have to separate a little bit, but still you learn the actual origins from the original comic books, and then how they had to twist it a little bit to make it kid friendly. Okay. It was just like a whole different story to me. It wasn't like, oh, okay, we have a man from Krypton that comes down and he can do anything because he's an alien, or a rich guy that dresses up like a flying rodent and it was something that was totally different. And how they presented it in the cartoons, the mutagen that can turn anybody or anything into part animal, part human. It's something just captivated me. I always liked the monsters and stuff like that. Huge Halloween fan. In fact, I got married on Halloween.
Hey, quick question. You got married on Halloween. Did you wear that stormtrooper costume when you got married? The one behind you?
If it would have fit. Anyway, no, Lucas, we had a normal wedding.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, but
unfortunately it was normal. So.
But the whole storyline of that just captivated me. It was something, in my mind, it was new. It was, neat. You got 4 turtles walking around that love pizza. Okay, well, I was a teenager at the time. Yes, I liked pizza, and yes, because of the turtles, I have tried peanut butter on pepperoni. It's not bad.
Oh, what?
I don't know about all that. Now, so you
gotta go for Chunky Jif.
Chunky Jif.
Well, let me ask you this: as a self-professed comic book geek, you said you were big into comics and everything as well. Did you pick up on, because I didn't pick up on this until years later, the parody that Eastman and Laird were doing with like some of the elements of Daredevil and all?
I didn't pick up on that, honestly, Steve, till about 10 years ago.
Yeah, the same. Like that's I saw someone, there was an article about it or a blog about it where someone's like, in Turtles they have the Foot Clan, which is a play off of the hand.
Absolutely. Stick and Splinter.
Yeah, those kinds of things.
But let's even go deeper down the rabbit hole. The young boy that was walking across the street in the original comics, and the man that dove to get him out of the way, that's Matt Murdock.
Oh, wow. Okay, didn't know that. See, I've never read any of those original comics.
Yeah, the canister smacked him in the head and caused, So, yeah, it's kind of one thing, and just we had Image and Marvel just kind of split off.
Just split off.
For huge Jack Kirby fans, and, it was kind of paying an homage to him, yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize that until, like I say, until years later, and I had no idea what you were just saying because I've never read those original issues of the Turtles. My exposure to Turtles is cartoon, and I don't even know that I've seen the original movies all the way through.
Blasphemy!
Oh, Go Ninja, go! Yeah, I know.
Steve, I can't believe that.
It's a true story. It's a true story. I've got them on DVD. I just never.
Guys, listen, Unique Turtles over there. He doesn't know what he's not telling the truth. You know, he loves you guys. He's just having fun.
No, it's true. It's true. It's a true thing. So yeah.
Watch the first one all the way through. Watch the second one all the way through, and then rewatch the first one.
There you go.
throw the third one away.
You tell me stay away from Turtles in Time?
If you want to call it Turtles in Time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 kind of.
Wasn't that what it was? Wasn't Teenage Mutant Turtles 3 Turtles in Time?
That was actually the name of the video game.
The video game. Now that's the other exposure that I had was the NES first Nintendo the Turtles game on the NES, but then the stand-up arcade games.
Oh yeah,
where you could do the 4 players at one time, or I guess they had them on Super NES as well. I love that. I love that junk, man. That was some good times. That NES Turtles game. Am I the only one that had a hard time with it? Like after a certain point,
every living being that bought that game to this day, I still curse severely at that game.
Yeah, it was a little bit difficult. It wasn't the easiest game in the world to play.
No, it was a lot difficult.
Yeah,
there was little about it.
So
one where Donatello's stick would come out like this instead of actually.
Yes, exactly.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was good times. Good times.
In fact, I think that game got me grounded for a couple times because of my language.
Oh, got you wrong.
And that was just 2-3 years ago.
Now, is it wrong to say I didn't see this latest run of Turtles movies? I didn't see the first one, but the second one, when they told me they were bringing in Bebop and Rocksteady, I was like, well, I need to watch this and see how they pull this off and on the big screen. And I went and saw, and I had so much fun with that mess. It was just such a good time to me that like it was such a callback to that cartoon that I'd always seen a little bit here and there of. And I thought I thought it was a great time.
The Jim Henson ones, the live action ones with the actors suits and everything will always be near and dear to my heart because I always loved Jim Henson as well. What he did to put life into the suits and everything was incredible. I'm not taking anything away from the actors that did the CGI. I enjoyed the Michael Bay, I guess it was, Turtle.
The Bay Turtles,
yeah, it was let's see, I don't want to say a love-hate relationship, but there were great elements in it, and I think they did a good job with them.
Now, Sean, that brings me back to something you just mentioned, Jim Henson, and I'm going to be honest with you because we hadn't really interacted much before this. I actually Facebook stalked your page yesterday when we were messaging back and forth. I know. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. But I saw a ton of Muppet love on your Facebook page, and so here we go, sir. Now listen, let me explain to you where worlds have now collided. There's been a couple of places, and I can't believe it took you saying Jim Henson to jog my memory that I saw that and said, well, here, forget everyone else. I'm about to talk to a new friend about the Muppets. We've got that in common. And then earlier you mentioned when I asked about the Penguins and the Steelers stuff, you said you're more of a Stone Cold Undertaker guy. So see, we've got Lucas, we'll see you, buddy. We've got a lot of ground to cover here. Muppets are my jam.
There was a third guy here named Lucas.
That's right. Exactly.
I just do the technological stuff.
That's right.
Lucas, you're all right, buddy. I love you down deep.
That being said, if you're on the Facebook side and you got a question for Sean, make sure you put that in the feed and we'll come to it. So
yeah.
So go ahead. Sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
That's fine. Muppets are my jam, man. I absolutely love love the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson is one of the few like celebrity deaths that I have literally mourned his passing. When he died, it broke my heart.
If I can get up here real quick, hopefully I can do this without making people seasick. You know, I know we're talking about collecting and we're talking about collecting Star Wars and stuff like that. There's one thing I also kind of collect autographs. This right here was probably my greatest autograph in the world. If you know who that gentleman is,
that's Big Bird.
That is Big Bird. That is Oscar the Grouch. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm not ashamed to say it, that was 4 years ago, so 45. I was literally crying tears of joy.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be able to meet Carol Spinney without getting a little verklempt myself.
The best part is he actually signed one of my childhood Sesame Street vinyl albums.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's very.
I have it framed, and if you've never seen the movie I Am Big Bird, by all means watch it, because it roller coaster. It's an incredible movie. If you are that big into the Muppets and Jim Henson and things like that, watch it.
Indeed, for sure. I listen, their humor, the heart of the Muppets, and then just the technical aspect of everything that go on. Like you really, as a kid, don't appreciate the artistic nature of what Henson and company were doing.
Absolutely not.
But as you watch it, as you grow older, and I'm talking like I'm not even getting into the Dark Crystal stuff or some of the other stuff. I'm talking about just the Muppet Show. They would do things on the Muppet Show Jim Henson pushed technology the way that George Lucas did.
Absolutely.
And he was just just absolutely amazing to see what they were doing and the way they would do things, and some of the behind the scenes stuff with like the Muppet movie, where they're like, how do we get these guys outside? How do we make it look natural that they're outside? And the work they would do is fantabulous. Have you gotten into collecting any Muppet stuff at all, or?
I haven't. That was, I can't remember the name of the company that was doing the Muppet action figures. I would have loved to have gotten into it, but I think it was at a time when, there were other things, and I hate to say that were more prominent to take care of. That's another thing, being a collector is about too, to know when to say, okay, I can't afford this, or I've got this coming, and
wise,
being smart, as opposed to being dumb and sleeping in your vehicle.
Well, let me just throw this out to everyone. If you're interested, I haven't bitten the bullet on this, but they do have at Big Bad Toy Store right now Diamond Select Muppet waves. They've got Kermit, Piggy, Fozzie, Gonzo, Rolf, Scooter, Beaker and Bunsen. They've got a Swedish Chef. They've got an animal. And so all at Big Bad Toy Store, and it's everything I've been able to do to not just order some of these things, because they look so cool. I don't think they're of the same line. I know what you're talking about, those action figures that came back. Maybe it was Diamond Select that was doing them, and just they were putting them out left and right. And I was kind of in the same boat. I just wasn't in a position to be able to collect them, though I wanted to.
The ones that I really always liked, and I know he's out there, and I know one day I'm going to own him, I think it was Uncle Deadly.
Uncle, yeah.
He was one of my favorites. See, I always enjoyed the monsters. Even didn't matter if it was the monsters on the Muppet Show, like Sweetums and Torg, and like the full size ones, or even just the regular hand puppets, or even like from Sesame Street, and a lot of people forget who he is. Frazzle. He was the red guy with the yellow horns. He had the sharp teeth, and he just had the tongue that hung out, and he really didn't talk. I don't know who the puppeteer, but he just like growled.
Yes.
It was always one of my favorites. I've always enjoyed the monsters.
Okay, the line that you and I are both thinking of is from Palisades.
That's
that we're doing it. Yeah, Diamond Select has some waves out now, but Palisades was doing it. I just found the Uncle Deadly that is
don't tell me that.
He's on. I'm looking at him on eBay right now. Buy it now, $25 basically.
I gotta go.
Hey, I got a question for you Muppet guys. So when the Muppet Show dropped on Disney Plus, how much time have you guys spent kind of going through some of those old episodes?
None, because
I've got the 3 seasons they released on DVD, and I've poked around on some of the ones that never got released on DVD, just kind of looking at them, some stuff. But I haven't really taken the time to sit down and watch through, because my wife's not in the Muppets, and so that's one of those things I got to do on my own time.
And Disney made me mad.
Oh.
They really have, and I understand it's 2021, and those were filmed way back when. And that's all I'm going to say about that. This is about collecting and toys. It's not about other things. But hey,
read you, brother.
I have them on DVD, and I can watch them whenever I want to.
Yeah. And look, some of that stuff is so classic. I mean, like I think a lot of Star Wars fans jump to the Luke Skywalker episode of the Muppets as being one. But when you have Christopher Reeve on an episode, you've got Sylvester Stallone, and then there's some that are just like people I don't remember, but they're just some hilarious bits that they do on some of those things. And then when they're just all getting to interact with each other, whether it's at the dance or the Pigs in Space sketch or the
dance skits. Oh my Lord. Some of my favorite. Just the way the one guy, the old guy dancing with the very large woman, he's just tap dancing left and right. What was your favorite episode, Steve?
What's that?
What was your favorite Muppet Show episode?
Oh my gosh. I always look at them like as far like by sketches within the show.
Oh yeah.
I love the birds jumping up and down on the wire doing "Take a Chance on Me" by ABBA.
That's a good one.
That's a great. There's one sketch that Fozzie and Rolf are doing, and Rolf is just kind of playing a song or whatever, and Fozzie comes in and he's like, "Hey," he's carrying a fish. He's like, "Rolf, ask me why I'm carrying a fish." And "Why are you carrying a fish, Fozzie?" "Oh, for the halibut." And then he just throws, waka waka. And I love the intentionally corny jokes and stuff. I love the episodes with a through line, where there's always like a kind of a running gag. The John Cleese episode is hilarious to me because he wants to come on and not do anything goofy.
Yeah.
And they keep getting him into these silly sketches and everything. So, I do like the Mark Hamill. I love the Star Wars one. I do enjoy that one. That's a classic one.
Going back to the monsters, Alice Cooper.
Yes, Alice Cooper was good.
I had no idea who Alice Cooper was back then, but then, of course, once the seniors come in, hey, Alice Cooper, I remember him on the Muppet Show, and I remember him singing that song.
Yep.
And probably one of my favorite skits. It's actually probably a tie between, I believe, the very Muppet done likenesses of Jim Henson and Frank Oz, Jerry Nelson, when they sing "Tomorrow."
Yes. Yep.
And Frank Oz puppets back there on the dog out. That and the Kuzbanian mating ritual.
Yes, we're here. And they like whoop whoop, and then they just run it.
Yeah, like I said, the writing was incredible. Like I said, it was some great just jokes and corny, whatever you want to call it, but the writing was there.
Well, there was the intentionally corny stuff, like what was in the ballroom dance scenes and the Dr. Bob, the veterinarian's hospital and that sort of thing. But then there was some very subversive humor too, that like as a grown-up, you go back and you watch it, you're like, oh, wow, they threw that in there, and it's just kind of like, okay, I see you, Jim Henson and Muppet team. And so And whenever you got the Muppets out of the Muppet Show setting and onto the Tonight Show or onto some talk show, some other late night talk show, it's like suddenly they became like your mischievous uncle, with some of the jokes and stuff they would make, and you're just like, who are these people?
They weren't on PBS anymore, or
right. Right, they weren't in prime time anymore. So yeah, but yeah, I love all the Muppet movies. Especially those original three. I've got a friend, Scott Rifen, who can't stand the Muppets Take Manhattan, but man, for my money, those three, while Jim Henson was still with us, are some of the best stuff that's out there.
Absolutely.
For Muppets, it just
even and like you say, Jim Henson doing the original 1990 movie Turtle Suits. He was looking at the mechanics and the heads and everything. I mean, with the servos and everything, and he's looking and looking. He's looking at the eyes of the turtles, and he's going, something's wrong. He actually put small lights in the eyes that could be rotated to make it look like the light was shining off.
Wow.
I mean, that's dedication to making something turn, from two-dimensional to three-dimensional, and bringing more life to it. So
have you ever gotten to go down to the MGM? Well, it used to be MGM Studios, Walt Disney Hollywood Studios down in Florida, and do the Muppet Theater?
I have not. I feel like it's a missed opportunity. I don't know if it's still there or not, but I'd love to.
I think it's still there. I don't think they tore it down. I was worried when they were doing all the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, they did some remodeling and stuff, but it's definitely still there. It doesn't have the same amount of space there at Hollywood Studios, but it's still there.
If you ever make it, for whatever reason, you save your shekels up and you're going down, you think you're just going to Galaxy's Edge, get out of the Galaxy's Edge, get out of Batu and go over to the Muppet Theater, because it's one of the last things that Jim Henson actually did before he died. And so it's Jim Henson Kermit, and they're talking about the new technology, with the 4D, and it's just a 3D thing, but they're at one point they shoot bubbles at you, get squirt in the face with a little spritz of water.
Nice.
Statler and Waldorf are up on the balcony, some animatronic Statler and Waldorf doing their jokes and stuff. And it is when I went and saw it for the first time, when I was there and I saw it for the first time, it was one of those moments where I got a little choked up, because it had been so long since we just had zany, wacky, silly, and not modern joke Muppets. Like the thing about the Muppet Show is those jokes transcend, time. They're not locked in. The hairdos of some of the guests, the age of some of the look of some of their special guests actually do look, that they're what put the Muppet Show in a certain time frame. Sure. But the jokes and the references don't. Nowadays with the Muppets, the stuff they've tried to do recently with Muppets, none of it all feels of its era. It all feels of its time, rather than something beyond, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, it's silly humor. I mean, look at some of those earlier skits, like where it's nothing but a black background and you've got people dressed in black. And I can remember the arch kind of puppet.
Yes.
And the little one comes over and he kicks it off
away, and then the little one.
Funny. It was entertaining. Yeah, it was actual road.
Now, the way that one ends up is the little one comes back over eventually and sticks his leg up and blows the big one away.
Yes.
Like a cannon. Yeah. Like Jim Henson, he would resort to some old cannonball humor, some explosion humor all the time. He loved going.
What was the one skit where they were on the other planet? Wait a minute. I can remember the purple guy. Hugga Wugga.
Yeah.
He had like the fire extinguisher nose.
Yeah. They were doing You Are My Sunshine.
Yes,
and that little Hugga Wugga guy
pops up and poof. Yeah, man, it was. You had a Muppet called Crazy Harry that ran around and went bang, and
yeah,
wrap up, yeah.
Oh man,
your rear end off.
I love the Muppets, man. Love the Muppets. So,
all right. Hey, I hate to interrupt the Muppet love here.
That's fine.
There is a question from the Facebook side, kind of back to the collecting aspect. Our good buddy Ricardo has a question. What is your favorite piece of, I guess you could say, in your geek room there, your favorite piece of your collection that you have?
Favorite piece in my collection?
Yeah.
Well, we sit there and we talk about our love for Ninja Turtles, and we talk about the love for Star Wars, but I think those.
Whoa.
Now, for those that are listening, there's a Pac-Man, a Miss Pac-Man, and is that Centipede
Galaga.
or Galaga? Okay, Galaga stand-up arcade. Now, these are full-size arcade games.
They are the mid-sized ones. They called them cabaret. So
Okay.
they were kind of like for the bars and everything. They're not exactly gigantic full size, but they're
Not the big cabinets, right? Nice.
But yes, they Pac-Man took me in the summer of 1980, and I can remember telling my father way back when I was 8 years old, one day I'm going to own one of these. Well, I was 44 and I got it.
Nice.
That is awesome, dude. That looks great. I see now we go down video games if we're not careful. But I still to this day love Miss Pac-Man.
All three of them are operational?
All three of them are operational, and all three of them take quarters. And if you don't have a quarter, you ain't playing.
Oh.
The price of admission?
Price of admission's $1.
Okay.
You do get your quarters back because yes, I do own the keys to open everything up. Yeah. And behind me, you really can't see it, but there's a fourth one, a tabletop Vanguard that I'm trying to find the time to kind of get the buttons refurbished and change out a speaker and things like that. That was a find. That was found in a barn for $100.
Nice. Well, Lucas knows all about those barn finds.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
He's been rocking those sales with the barn finds lately.
Yeah, buddy Lamar.
Lucas.
Nice.
You find any of the vintage 12-inch Star Wars action figure accessories? You let me know.
Yeah, I see those back over your shoulder. What do you have? You got all the figures themselves, or?
Oh no, I'm missing the expensive ones. IG-88, Jawa, I think Chewbacca, although I think he's the cheapest.
Yeah.
But of course, I have Boba Fett, everything except the Wookiee braids.
Oh.
Everything. I got Luke Skywalker except the lightsaber and the grappling hook. Hey, I got Han Solo without the medal. To me, as a collector, see, I didn't have those as a kid.
Right.
I don't care. It doesn't make a difference. Yes, I've got the most important part of Han. I have his blaster and his holster and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it means to me. If that makes me a bad collector because I'm not looking for everything that's mint in it. It's what, like I said, it goes back to what I had and what I didn't have as a kid.
Right. Yep.
I agree completely.
Yeah, I think like I said, I think that's part of the fun of the collecting is just the whole idea of, especially when you get into some of the older stuff, it's I had this or I didn't have this and now I do, and it's great to have it finally. That kind of thing.
Since we were talking a little bit about everything else there's a little Undertaker love for you.
Oh yeah, we didn't get into all that. We didn't.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Sorry, and a little bit of Rowdy Piper too.
Oh,
Nice. You got Rowdy. You got him to sign a coconut. That's awesome. That is awesome.
And that's me and the man.
Yeah. How was he to meet?
I'm going to tell you right now. Well, okay. Since I forgot to turn the thing around here, we'll take a walk around the geek den.
Well, there's some Deadpool.
This is what I'm talking about. Me being a casual collector. Yeah, I could go out and get everything, but no, I got the Hot Toys Deadpool.
There you go.
I had to have it because and little Ninja Turtle love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to say, like I said, I'm a bad collector, but it's
what makes you happy, man.
Yeah, I think
what makes you happy. I mean, if I don't get every single solitary piece,
right?
It's okay. I mean, even going back to the original Star Wars line, I mean, 84, I started, it started pooping out and everything. And of course, Lucas wasn't going to make a fourth one. The last 17, I think I probably had maybe 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
And here I am, in 2020, going out and doing side jobs to pay $100
Was that the
$99 that I never had?
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, let's face it, we're all collectors. The last 17, there were so many that they could have done and they didn't do.
Yep.
That
Yep.
should have been made.
Yep.
And I'm talking about you, Imperial Dignitary. Old guy, 5 seconds in the movie in purple purple robes. No, Han Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or a Tarkin.
Yes.
Or a rebel trooper from 10 and 4.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, I know we got Tarkin a few years ago in the new board game, but
it's not the same.
It's not the same. You're absolutely right. It's not the same. Even the retro lines, it's nice to see them out on the shelves because it brings you back to that, at least to me, brings me back to that childhood, walking into Woolworths,
yes,
Kmart. I mean, even for the love of Pete, Thrift Drug, Star Wars figures were everywhere. It wasn't just department stores. It wasn't just, you know, the JCPenney, you know, winter catalog where all the toys were in the back and you would start circling things.
Right.
You know, 1 star want, 2 stars need, 3 stars. I can't live without it. You know, and it's nice to see those, you know, the retro lines on there, but then you go and see how they made the card. They tried to make the cards look beat up. And
Well, my thing is, it's like, it's a great concept, and what they're doing, like with the Mandalorian characters and everything, to put those, to me, that's the smart money. Don't do beat up cards. Don't do the weathered look on the cards. Do the retro collection and do figures that were never made in the 70s. Do the Tarkin, do the Han in Stormtrooper disguise, do the Rebel Trooper, and then do some of these other things that have come out. I know you're not big on the prequels and all, but I mean, do a 5 points of articulation Darth Maul, do a young Obi-Wan and a Qui-Gon Jinn, you know.
See, right there, like if they would have done like a Kenner style Darth Maul, yeah, I would have bought it. I absolutely thought he was one of the greatest bad guys in the world.
Yeah.
I believe they sawed him in half in episode 1. I think he could have been, you know, he could have been really good all the way up till 3. But once again, I didn't write the movies.
Right. Sure. Well, the thing is, it's like, and I guess Kenner was Kenner still around in 99? And Hasbro bought Kenner yet? Because Kenner brought back.
It was close. Close.
I think they did by then.
Yeah, and so they were doing that newer. I mean, obviously it was all newer, but I think those original ones were kind of 5 points, but it wasn't like Stickmen, you know, 5 points of articulation. Yeah. You know, and so I just think that, you know, but they weren't on a vintage style card either. And so I feel like that's kind of the road that if I were Hasbro and they said, hey, let's redo, you know, let's put out some of these figures that came out back in the day just the way they did, I'd be like, how about this? Why don't we really fire them up and do a retro style of things that there's never been on a retro card before, you know, on a vintage card before? Do that. Michael Mercy calls it unfinished business, you know, and that's kind of the route I'd go. But but the thing is, there's a joy and a fun to this stuff, and I think you do it right, man, Chevy, to just kind of you collect what you like and you go with what you want, and you don't really get locked into completism or all this other stuff. And because that way it doesn't become this stressful thing for you. It's this point of enjoyment for you, which is what it should be all be about. Yeah.
It's like complete Zen. I mean, you know, like I said, underneath the Undertaker, the stuff that I have Undertaker, I mean, I've got the Boondock Saints stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I over there, like I said, a lot of the NECA quarter scale figures, you know, Toka, Razor, the, you know, Super Shredder, the Casey Mask, the 2-packs, you know, up there, more Deadpool stuff, Ghostbusters stuff, which, you know, arcade games. And I mean, I've got movie wardrobe from Boondock Saints 2.
Wow.
I've got props from the Boondock Saints 2. Probably one of the funniest ones that I bought on a whim, just, you know, because it was Johnny Knoxville. I've got Johnny Knoxville's pants, his backpack from Men in Black 2. I think I paid like $90 for it shipped. I'm like, oh, I can't believe I just bought this.
Wow.
But I loved the movie. I thought Knoxville was always one of those guys that I'm like, he's got more brains than he does, you know, anything else. Maybe I said that wrong. He doesn't have brains, or maybe he's just fearless. One or the other. And I completely love that character in that movie. And you know, how often can you own like an actual piece of, you know, movie wardrobe or whatever for
right.
for $90?
$90. Yep, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's the only thing I could say is you collect what you like. It, you know, and even like, you know, Steve and Lucas, like we were talking even at the very beginning when you asked, you know, where did your collecting start? It started, you know, really it started with the Ninja Turtles, because the vintage Star Wars stuff was at the time just toys. But with the vintage Ninja Turtle line, it was, look, there's 3 new ones. I have to go have.
Right.
And then, you know, it was just, you know, saving up. Okay. Well, I missed this line, or I missed this one. Okay. Now we're going to start bouncing from Toy Store to Toys R Us to this one to see if we can find this guy. And, you know, that's where it started. You know, that's where the obsession came for collecting.
Yep.
But now, you know, all those years later, once you get married and you have house and you have a house payment and you have a truck payment and you have to worry about bills and everything else, I'm not saying that it deters from your collecting, but maybe it wisens you up to what you want to collect, how much you want to collect, and what pieces you want to collect.
Yeah, you have to learn to collect differently. You have to learn to collect smarter, and you have to learn to really kind of focus in on what really matters to you and what's going to bring you the most enjoyment as a collector. You know, because you know, for so long, if I'm just trying to collect and just complete something just for completism's sake,
right?
You know, like I say, eventually that becomes a stressor. It doesn't become something I enjoy. I start getting stressed as I'm running out on toy hunt after toy hunt after toy hunt, not finding anything, and I need this one more piece to collect this wave or to finish this line off. You know, and so I had to back up way back and be like, you know what, I'm going to focus in on this area or this thing. And
Nika proved that recently, even with the, you know, the cartoon releases of the Ninja Turtles. You couldn't find those, and I was like, you know what, that's it. I can't go down this rabbit hole if I'm doing this over here. And yeah, you know what, there were a bunch that I would have liked to have got my hands on, and I did have them, and I would just looked at them and went, I fought off 3 guys with a hammer trying to get this one April 2-pack, and I'm like, it's not even worth it. Okay, so somebody else wanted it, go on, you know, the Facebook groups, hey, look, this is what I paid for it, here's what I want for it. If it's going to make you happy, if it's going to complete your collection, go for it. And I really ultimately think that's what collecting is about, helping everybody out. And trying to get that one piece or a couple pieces of, you know, action figures or whatever it is to, you know, I have a good buddy, I believe he's on Chewy's Cantina. He is into the Marvel Legends and he really likes them. And he, you know, if I'm out and about and I see a couple, it doesn't make a difference if it's at a Target, Walmart, or if I'm at a private store, I'll take a picture and send it to him. Hey, you looking for this one? Oh my God. Yeah, I'm looking for that. Okay, I'll pick it up for him. Here you go.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it's about.
That's right. That's right. That's really what it, and that's one of the things that I've enjoyed about the canteen is that's kind of the atmosphere that's been developed there, and just kind of the camaraderie mostly of helping each other find things. And, you know, we're not necessarily about ripping each other off or or like I found this and I bought 5 of them. Now everyone pay me X amount of dollars for it. You know, it's like,
and that's where that right there, what you just said. Yeah, you know what? I went to Target and I cleaned up when I got, picked up all the whatever, the 2 packs of Casey and the Ninja Turtles or this and that. Okay, they were $49.99 or whatever it is, $50 a pop. Okay, I want $175 plus $25 shipping and handling. I need the the written consent of this and that. I need your blood.
right.
Stakes are high.
That actually, and all that last year and everything actually kind of almost got me out of this.
Yep.
Because that's not what it's about.
No.
And there's other groups that I have been part of. Without naming names, I got out of them because it was vicious. It was really vicious. I mean, hey, a small piece of 43-year-old plastic that goes to a certain action figure. Oh, that has Star Wars written all over it.
Yeah, $80.
It $275,000 for no. It just, I know a big exaggeration, but it's just
yeah.
Well, even I've talked with other people about the idea of how they feel about repro stuff versus vintage, versus the actual stuff. I know we're not supposed to say those words and everything.
Okay,
but,
I'm gonna give you my dissertation on repro.
Well, here's my thoughts in a heartbeat, and this may get me kicked out of the cantina, but I feel like you take something like the A-wing pilot gun, which is like literally the flashing of plastic off of a mold is how big that thing is. Like it's nothing. And you throw you throw an actual one up on eBay, and people are paying $88-$90 for it. But one that just happens to be that someone was able to make a mold and make them at home pretty good is $5-$10. And suddenly I'm a bad guy for having a complete looking weapon, complete looking figure on my shelf, and I didn't pay out the nose for it. And I'm killing the market, and I'm being deceptive, and I'm an evil guy. I don't buy all that.
No, you're not planning to sell it. I mean, it's for your collection.
But also, if I have a car, if I have a vintage, Mustang, and I've had to replace some parts on it, and you can't find the original, like I can't find the original parts, but I find a retooled part. I find a part that is made for this, but it's not the original. It doesn't devalue that vehicle.
My vintage Star Wars collection, there was one piece that I don't have, and that's a true black blaster for my Stormtrooper Luke. And I'm going to tell you right now, gentlemen, I'm never going to own a true black blaster because I am not paying over $120 for a piece of plastic that small.
Right.
He's holding a blue black blaster. It is an Imperial blaster. It is of vintage style, and it is of vintage heritage, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And it works because when I was a kid, I knew Stormtrooper and the Death Squad commander, and those guys had those guns. I didn't care what color it was.
Right.
I knew Han Solo had this blaster. I knew Greedo and Snaggletooth had the same blaster.
Mm-hmm.
I had blue, true blue, black,
true blue,
green, green, gray with the slate. And once again, it's another thing that makes collecting makes me want to just go, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
You got people screaming about repro. Yes, you know what? If you want to have a repro thing, by all means do it. But if I'm going to sell something and go, okay, here's my whatever, here's my Stormtrooper Luke. Helmet's real. It has been verified. It has a repro weapon. If you want the repro weapon, I'll throw it in for nothing.
Yeah.
Or if I am going to list it, I'm going to take that repro weapon and go.
Yeah.
And You
It's
know,
a matter of personal integrity there. I mean, because you're a full disclosure. I mean,
absolutely.
if you got people passing stuff off, that's a different animal.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I do have a confession because
Uh-oh.
yes, because we're talking about vintage collections, we're talking about those things. I guess it was a couple of years ago I finished my run. Jay Capshaw, another Cantina member, helped me finish that up with a pop-up R2 that he had got for a great price. But I've got to tell you guys, on
La,
Monday,
la, 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 la.
on Monday, A-Wing pilot uses the blaster. On Tuesday, the Imperial Gunner uses the blaster. On Wednesday, I only have one blaster between those two guys. And
That's
they split time. So, I'm not getting another one. I was crazy enough to get some of the other stuff I've got, and I finally drew the lines like this is out of hand.
Yeah.
I don't blame you, sir.
Yeah.
Don't blame me at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see the Hulk. I see the Hulk's hand.
Oh, did I say? Yeah, I'm just sitting here messing around with some.
I thought he was making a big
You know
reveal.
me, Lucas. While we're doing this, I sit here and post figures and stuff.
Well, we were allowed to play with toys while we were doing it the whole time.
That's what I do every time I'm doing one of these things, man. I just sit here and fiddle with a toy. I'm like a child on a trip. Which toy do you want to take with you today, Steve? So,
Yeah.
He's got a backpack wherever he goes. Well, guys,
None
that being said,
of
we are kind of coming up to the end here. I think we've had some. Man, I didn't realize all this stuff about you, Chevy, about the Muppets and and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I just knew you as the Star Wars guy, so I'm so thankful you took some time to hang out with us tonight. And plus, we dug into some real heart of what it is to be a collector. So I think it's been good.
You know what? And like I said, Steve and Lucas, I appreciate you guys wanting me to come on and talk. I mean, hey, you know what? It's nice to be able to BS about stuff like this without people going, "What are you, a nerd?" Yes, I am.
well, that's what it's all about, man.
There's more of us out there than there are of you. So
Apparently,
you throw the nerd symbol up in the sky and have us all rush you.
there you go.
It really is nice to be able to talk. And hey, you know what? Like you said, you guys learned a little bit about me. I learned a little bit about Steve with his wrestling and the Muppets and everything. And I learned that Lucas cheats with his A-Wing blaster.
That's right. That's right. Well, we really didn't get into all the wrestling stuff, but we don't have time for that. That's a whole other show, Chevy. So we'll have to jump in on some of that, and discuss was the best Undertaker match the WrestleMania 25 match or the casket match with Shawn Michaels back in the day. I don't know. That's just kind of
the one that I was at in King of the Ring 1998 in Pittsburgh when I watched Mick go off the cage.
Were you there?
Absolutely. And I'm actually on the DVD as well.
Shut your mouth. There you go. We can't go out any better than that. All right. Awesome. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us over at the Cantina, and those of you guys that were with us live on Facebook, we thank you so much for that. For those that joined us at mixer.com/Gulliverse, and for those who are picking us up on the podcast feed, or I guess, Lucas, is this going to get posted on the YouTube, or are you able to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I can do it. As soon as we're done, it'll clear. I'll download it and throw it up on YouTube.
So for those of you that are at YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And for everyone else, we appreciate you and would love to hear from you. geekoutonline@gmail.com or head over to geekoutonline.com/cantina and join up with one of the best collecting groups out there today. For Lucas, for Sean Chevalier, I'm Steve Glosson, and we'll see you again soon around the Gulliverse. Have a good one, everybody.
See you guys.